Hi everybody, welcome back to KariDoesStuff. Um, Let me just turn the volume down here so I can hear myself think. Again, let me know if the music volumes or whatnot are off and you can't hear me or whatever's going on. Today I'm going to be working on polishing, um, smoothing and polishing my Mini Mayfair, which I gloss coated yesterday. If you remember, we had a bit of a wonky day when the airbrush wasn't quite working right. So hopefully today's going to be a bit better. Uh, Today's stream's going to be a little bit shorter than usual because I've got a prior engagement tonight and I have to prepare for that. Um, but I got back. I got back from going out for a family visit, and then I'd done a little bit off-camera work with Dragon Age Origins, and the time was getting on. I thought, oh crap, I got to do a model bench stream. So here I am with a model bench. And the Mini has come up quite nice. I'll show it to you on the main camera in a minute. So we're going to be working on that. We're going to be doing a bit of sanding and hopefully a bit of polishing, and I'm going to try and show you how that's done if the camera picks it up. So yeah, that's pretty much what we're going to be doing today. So yeah, I'm in a bit of a frazzle. Because time is getting on, and I was like, oh god, I gotta get ready. So I just need to calm down a little bit. So yeah, welcome to our viewers. Hello there. Feel free to have a conversation in chat. That's what it's all for, and I'll try and answer any of your questions that I can. I don't think we're going to be able to get on with anything else today. Just the polishing of the Mini Mayfair. So I'll have to bring you in on what happened with the horse and everything later on. So yeah, let's take a look at the main bench here. Okay. So we got the car here, and it's looking pretty shiny as it is, but there are imperfections on the gloss coat, and as I don't know if you could see, but there are little bits of dust, and it's got a kind of orange peel look to it. So after I'd done my dad's Land Rover and I was working on the Porsche, I worked out how to get rid of the orange peel. So just going to tighten down the seals on here, the masking tape on the inside so it doesn't move around too much. But what we're going to do to start with is we're going to look at some of this sandpaper here. Now, I don't want to use too much of a higher grit on this one. Like 400 would be, sorry, I don't want to use too much of a lower grit. 400 grit would be a little bit too rough for this, as would 600. So we're going to go up a bit further. I believe this is 900 grit here. After that, it goes up to the thousands. So this is 900 grit, and we're going to wet sand it and just gently try and work out some of those imperfections. So just cut off a bit of this sandpaper here. Here we go. Let me know if you can't see very well. I've got a bit of a coughy throat, so I do apologise if I keep trying to cough. No, it's not the big thing that's going around. Right, so just dip the sandpaper in the water, and we're just going to circle round gently. We're going to start with the roof, just so that we can see that what we're doing is actually working. So we're just sanding it down. Get a nice smooth finish. Now the thing is, we don't want to take too much of the gloss off, because we don't want to get to the paint. So that's why I'm using a medium sort of grit, like a 900. And we're just sort of smoothing it around. Now the roof has been done quite a bit, so that's got quite a thick gloss coat on it now, the roof. So what we do is every so often is we're going to grab a just a cloth and just wipe the water free, just so we can sort of see just how well we're doing. Just clean the water off, because the thing is with water, it kind of water actually sort of gives it a shine, so we don't want it to have a shine. We want to see where the imperfections are. So I can see that there's still a couple on here that I want to try and get rid of. Just sand it down just nice and gently. There's a couple down here that needs to go. A little bit more water so it doesn't, so it's not too rough on it. And then just gently on the edges, because this is all going to get obviously polished up. Actually, yeah, I guess fine. So now we're going to do this side where you had the problem with, and as you can see, it's nice and shiny, but there is orange peel in the gloss. So I'm just going to try and get rid of that and sand that back. Now the decals are all underneath the gloss here, so as long as we don't sand too hard. Now, considering that the decals have already got two coats of gloss on, we should be fine. If we end up getting through those to the decals, we're in serious problems here. So we're just going to be nice and gentle and just sand what we can. Maybe do a bit over the chrome, because I want that to polish up quite nice. So just sand out the imperfections. So that's all it is really today. It's just a little bit of sanding, and every so often just wipe it off. Now that one's a bit of a dirty one, so it's not coming up too bad actually. It's coming out nice and smooth. So I think a little bit more. So what we're trying to achieve here is smooth without going through the actual gloss coat, and a uniform kind of finish, or a uniformly dull finish here. I know it seems counterintuitive. We've glossed it up and now we're sanding it down to dull it out, but that's what we want, because if it's uniformly dull, that means it's ready for polish, and the coat is going to take a nice polish. So I'm just doing it a little bit dry here so that I can see what's going on, so I can see what's uniformly dull, so I can see what I've done. There's a bit by the door handle there. So now we've got to be careful, because some parts of this obviously are higher up than others, sort of like in topography. So we don't want to actually catch too much. Don't want to catch too much, because if you're rubbing away like this, you think, oh yeah, la-di-da-di-da, I've just got this bit to do. But what you don't realise you're doing is you're actually applying more pressure accidentally to some higher contoured areas, and you could end up like completely going through some of the paintwork, which is what I've done before. I have done that before. Now you're not going to be able to get it all, but as long as you can get a majority of it, so that you can get it uniformly dull and a nice smooth finish. Because then what you're going to be able to do is you're going to be able to polish it up. So let's just take a look at the top again, and there's some bits up here that I can see now that it's dried. So we just polish those off. It actually works better when it's wet or slightly damp, so we're gonna. It's just a bit by the rear wheel arch is a bit of a pain. There we go. So it's a little bit of wet sand in. It's just enough to get the sandpaper to actually adhere and work properly. So that doesn't look too bad. There's a few blemishes in there, so we're just going to tap it. But don't forget, this isn't the only course of sandpaper we're going to be using. So now let's move on to the wing here. You've got to be careful of those contoured areas, because although you may not see it, if you're taking off more gloss coat than you should be, when it comes to actually machine polish it, which is what I'll be doing with my little Dremel tools, or Dremel-like tools, you end up taking off a hell of a lot, and then you can end up getting down to the bare plastic, which is never good. So you've got to be super careful. Right, now let's do the front wings and the hood, as you say in America, but the bonnet we say over here. Yeah, I can see there's a bit of orange peeling in the gloss, so I'll just try to get rid of that. Just applying a little bit of pressure. Not too much. I don't want to, like I say, I don't want to focus too much in one area, because you'll take the paint, you take the actual paint off. But these have been like coated like 3 or 4 times, so let's just add a little bit of water here. Right, it's looking nice and smooth. We're going to do the bonnet here. Now, especially, this is what I'm talking about with the higher contoured areas. This ridge down the center of the bonnet there, you can quite happily do this, but what you don't realize you're doing is on the back of the sandpaper is you're sanding away the ridge. So what's best to do is sand into the ridge, so that you know how much you're taking away, and then turn it again, sand into the wing, and then back to the ridge. Let's do a bit around the front here. Just be hyper aware of what you're sanding against. Again, sanding into the ridges. Now this takes some practice to know what to do. There's no hard and fast way, you just gotta practice and work out where you screwed up, and then just come back to it again. I mean, I've done on the Porsche, as the first one I actually sanded on the gloss coat. I ended up taking off a bit of paint off of the area where the lights go, and that's when I sort of learned, oh, I've got to be careful of what I'm actually looking at and sanding, because otherwise you take it off. I'm just gonna wheel arches, a bit wet. Okay, this side. Now this is a whole process of sanding and polishing. But bear in mind that even once you've polished it, and if you still see parts where you're not happy with the orange peel, you can just go back and do that bit again. It's not a big deal. Just don't take too much of that gloss off. Well, the gloss is fairly hard. That's why we put hardener in it. So we're just going to go around the boot lid here. These nobules here aren't going to matter too much because they're going to be covered up. So as you can see, I quickly took the paint off of those. They're going to have a little part on there for the rear lights, the number plate light. Do the lower valance. I hope you can all see what I'm doing. Hey bestie! Well, it's not polished yet. I'm just sanding it down. It should hopefully be dull, not polished. I haven't polished it yet. I'll show you how to polish it. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm just sanding it down so that it's all nice, uniform, smooth. We get rid of the orange peel. But yeah, it might not be showing up on camera very well, but you know. Right, so that's the 900 grit. Well, yeah, well, it's shiny on your screen, yeah, because of the light. But now you can see it's a lot duller than what it was. And so now it's dried, you can start to see elements of where the orange peel is coming out. So there's a bit more on the hood. We're gonna just sand down. It's only shiny creamy because I put the water on it. You see. But once it dries, it should be dull. Water has a tendency to shimmer. But it should really shine. Right. Really shine when the polishing is being done. Well, that's 900 grit. So what we're going to do is we can go do it in increments. So what I'm going to start off with here is a bit of 5,000. You can, if you're really, you could really go down grit by grit, but I don't really see that. I think you can skip a few grit papers, and then as long as you sort of like hit the interim papers. So we're going to cut off a bit of 5,000. Now this is getting more like paper, just smooth paper. So, but it's still sand, so you have to just work it in with water. Just sand it down. It's just about smoothing it off and getting a nice smooth finish. Because you don't want any of these sandpaper lines in it. So it's just and that's the trouble when you wet sand. You can't see whether, because it's uniformly shiny because of the water, but that's not what you're looking for. You're looking for smoothness at this level, so we're sanding it down to try and get it smooth, not shiny. Ultimately we kind of want it dull but smooth. Problem is you have to wet sand it in order for it to work. Smooth and creamy. Yeah, that's what we want. Smooth and creamy. Right. Oh, it'll get really creamy in a minute, creamy. That I can tell you. See, now I've rubbed off a bit of paint off of the aerial node there, but that's fine. That's got to be touched up with a bit of black anyway. It's those nobule bits that always get you, so it's got to be a bit careful. And if your edge of the sandpaper starts to get a bit soggy, you can always just trim it off and get a nice clean edge again. So how are you today, Creamster? I hope you're doing well. I hope you're all doing well. I had to put the heating on in here today. It's a bit chilly. You're peachy. I was going to say you're preachy. I didn't think you were the type. I gotta go shopping before table games. Fair enough. Well, this isn't going to be a very long, stream, but because I do need to prepare. And when I say prepare, I mean nap. If I'm going to be up late tonight, I need to try and get some sleep beforehand. Just a couple of hours is fine. And we're just still going around, trying to get into those little details, those little areas. Okay, now for the boot lid. Like I say, I'm not too worried about these nobules on the end because there's going to be a light attached to those. There's going to be an attachment on there. And lower valance. Oh, never mind. What? Never mind what? You don't have to go shopping now. Alright, now let's just take the... no. Take that off the roof there. That's not bad. Problem is with this one, this car had an option for a sunroof, and so internally there was a gap where you could run a blade through and cut out the sunroof, but on the top there was none. It was just supposed to be flat. But as you sprayed it, it became a line around where the sunroof could have been because the plastic was thinner around that area. I was like, well, that's annoying. Okay, well that's 7,000. Sorry, that was 5,000. Have we got a 9? I don't have a 9,000, so we're just going to go all the way up to 7 here. Now this is basically like trying to sand with a piece of A4 paper, but it will work. So I'm going to just sand this, and that should just smooth it off entirely. This is a nice gentle grit, so you shouldn't be too worried about, shouldn't take too much off. This is where the polishing starts with 7,000. Before you get the polishing compounds on it, this is where it really starts, because it's smooth and you're just doing the first stages. Wow, minus 13.8. Jesus, that's chilly. A little bit chilly. That's brass monkeys, that is. So we're still sanding. This is the edge of the sanding process, the beginning of the polishing process. Now I need to cut a bit off the end of that because that's getting soggy. Now this sandpaper is great because if you need to, you can cut a bit off and stick it to a sanding block or a tongue depressor or something like that. Or you can just cut it off and use it as a piece of sandpaper. It's got a sticky back to it, a waterproof sticky back, which will allow you to stick it to sanding block or, like I say, a tongue depressor or something like that. I'm not going to do that with this because it needs to be able to mold the contours of the car, Can't do that if it's stuck to something solid. Oh, sorry, you can't see what I'm doing, can you? I have a tendency to hold this bit close to my chest so that I can steady it, but that means that the camera can't see what's going on. So I do apologise. Luckily, the Mini is, apart from there's a few rounded areas, but it's a very simple design of a car, which means it's got a lot of flat surfaces. Very simple. These cars are brilliant. I had a group of friends who all used to own and maintain, do up their Minis, and I don't know if any of you have seen Only Fools and Horses, but there's an episode where the guy Trigger, he's a bit slow, but he works for the council as a road sweeper, and he's awarded an award by the council of money because he's been saving. Apparently, the council think he's been saving money because he's had the same broom for 15 years. And there's a picture of him in the paper, and they're all like, "Wow, Trigger, that's impressive. The same broom for 15 years." He said, "Yep, it's had 12 heads and 13 handles." And you're like, "Wait a minute, is that even the same broom?" And I always used to think that the old style Minis were the same because they were so easy to repair, and you could basically take the entire bodywork off of the chassis and put it on another chassis, or replace the bodywork onto that chassis. It was just unbelievably easy to work on, to the point where I had a friend who would go around and he would pick up old beat up Minis, and he had a huge back garden, and he would store them in there, like the chassis and the frame and the subframe, and the bodywork. And he would keep the VIN numbers on the chassis, and he would keep the records of the VIN numbers. So if my friends were wanting to change the chassis for their car, it was like bent or something, they could go to him and they could just get a brand new chassis and a brand new VIN number. Or you could put a new bodywork on an old chassis and have the VIN number. I mean, totally legal. There was nothing wrong with it because it was essentially the same car. They didn't grind off VIN numbers or change VIN numbers to different cars. They made sure that the VIN numbers attached to the right chassis, but that chassis was put on different cars. Yeah, I told you about the guy, yeah. And it always reminded me of Trigger. It's not the same car then, is it, Trigger? But he had loads of them. A whole filing cabinet full of documents like that. Because you could also do it with written off cars. As long as you could prove that the car was roadworthy again, and it would go through an MOT, which is our version of just a test to make sure it's roadworthy and legal to go on the road. You could insure it and everything. It was roadworthy. So I think it was one of the only cars. That and the Volkswagen Beetle was one of the only cars, some of the only cars that you could do that with, I think. Oh, and the 2CV, I think. But it always used to make me laugh. So I'd be around there and the mate would come in and go, "Oh, I need a new VIN number." "Alright, what one do you want?" "You've got this one that belongs to Mayfair, blah blah blah." He goes, "Alright, well I need to put the bodywork on that chassis then." "Okay." and he'd sell it to them, chassis and all. It's a long time ago that was. Right, so I'm just loading up my model drying tool because I'm going to dry off this model. So I'm going to mute my mic and just let that go because it's quite noisy, and have a cigarette at the same time. So enjoy the tunes and watch the process. Okay, that should be fine. Yep. Now there's some areas on there that, now it is nice and smooth, but there are some little areas on there. Now hopefully the polishing will bring that out. But again, like I say, you can polish it once, and if you're not happy with it, you could just do it again. There are some elements on there which I've noticed that I have missed, or it's very difficult to get the sandpaper into. But generally, it's not too bad. Right, now comes the messy part. Let's pick up one of these Dremels. Let's pick up the silent, quiet one first. Okay, here comes the messy part. So, let's move this aside. Let me show you what I got here. Now, I showed you these when I first done my introduction to the model bench. These are polishing compounds. And you start off with coarse, then medium, then fine. And you use this tool which you put into the Dremel, and you can pull off these. So the coarse you need to use the orange. Now this is fine, this orange one's fine. It's got a bit worn around the edges, but that's perfect. So we're going to use the coarse. I'm going to fit that into the Dremel here. I'll just give it a test drive just to see if it's not off center. It needs to be reseated. So again, now these are my rags. Now what I usually do here is you can get some lint-free rags, which is what these are. Now I'm going to need to get some new ones, but these are very handy. You start off with these. So you take a lint-free rag. Now you open up this polishing compound like I said, and it's kind of like a gloopy kind of plaster kind of substance. And all you do is you take it and it's just polish, basically. It's just polishing compound, and you rub it in to the area which you're doing, like so. And now some people say, I've watched some model makers that say you don't do circles because circles will show up, so you do straight lines. And I've seen some people say don't do straight lines because straight lines will show up. So I think a bit of a combination of both kind of works, especially as you're machine tooling it, machine polishing it anyway. So let's just do a bit at a time. Now the further you go down the compound route, the slipperier it gets. So the fine is almost like a liquid. But let's turn this on. Right, that's loud. So just all I say is you just work it around and round. Be careful of what you're actually polishing, because you could still take some of the gloss coat and paint off with you. I'm going to mute my mic when I do this, so just watch it as I go. It's kind of messy. It kind of flicks everywhere. So if you have a cup of coffee here, which I do, make sure you cover it with something like a mat. There's nothing worse about picking up a cup of coffee that takes to your lips and there's all polishing compounds splattered in it. So this is a very messy part. So I'm going to lift up my mic. Now already I can see that the parts that I could see still had some orange peel have gone. It's not fully polished, it's smooth, but it's the start. That's what I say, it's the start. So just keep rubbing that in for take a look at that. Yeah, I'm really happy with that. That's coming up real. That's going to polish up real nice. And already it's starting to have a bit of a shine to it after all that sanding and dulling it down. It's starting to get a shine to it. So now we're going to work onto one of the sides, door panels and wing. So we just work it in there. Now this is the tricky part with the machine grinding, because there are little parts like that crease there, the panel lines, that if you spend too much time grinding around them and your grinder is actually slowly grinding away at them, again the paint is going to come off and you're going to have an issue there. So we're going to have to be real careful here. We're just going to get into some of these areas like that, do that by hand. And it's kind of like, it's just gloopy. It's just very gloopy stuff. Do a bit on the front wing as well. Just work it in there. Okay. So I'm just going to have to remember which finger hole that was. Oh, I've already put a hole in it. Okay, I'm going to turn this back off again and give this a... Okay, so what I was talking about where the grinder actually takes some of it off, just here, here, and a bit under here, and there, it has taken some of it off. It has taken some of the paint off. Now another reason for that is the gloss seems to adhere better to like a nice flat surface. The more lumps and bumps you get in it, the less thickness of a gloss coat you can actually get on there, unless you really coat it. So on these edges here, the gloss is very thin. So what I've done as I've ground it is I've ground the gloss off, ground the paint off. That's not necessarily a problem, not here anyway. I can always touch it up again with a bit of chrome, so that's not a problem. So yeah, I might actually go over and touch up the chrome anyway, because I'm not necessarily happy with the finish of the chrome on that, so that's not a problem. So now we're going to move on to the hood. See, once this is done, by the time this is all done, I probably would have wore off quite a bit of chrome on those wheel arches, so it'll just have to be a case of touching it up again, which is no big dealio. Especially with secondary colours, But main primary colours, you'll notice that's come off. So it's very hard to replace that. Now this valance under here, it's not too bad because there's going to be a bumper on top of it, so just again, you don't have to machine tool this. You machine polish it. You can do it by hand. So small parts like the chrome up on that's going to be attached to it, like the grill and stuff, I'm going to do by hand because I just don't want to rub that chrome off. Because some of those parts are detailed, so I'm just going to do it by hand. And as you can see, just by doing the valance, it's coming up. It's starting to shine. So not all of it has to be done by machine. So I'm going to get in here and do this slot and a bit on here. Maybe we've got 3 people watching. Hey, yay, welcome. If you've got any questions, feel free to drop them in, and when I do check the screen as much as I can, I will let you know. I will answer them, or try to answer them at least. Right, so now we're gonna just... Oh, mic off. Okay, it's coming up nice. Now the problem is with this stuff, obviously, it gets in all the cracks. So you have to wait for it all to have dried, and then you can just blast most of it out under the tap. And then use a soft, like children's toothbrush to get the rest out. That works really well. Just get one of those training toothbrushes is what they are, I suppose, where the kids have got sensitive gums because their teeth are coming through, and you're trying to teach your children how to brush their teeth. They got very soft bristles on them. Those work pretty well in getting all the gunk, getting most of the gunk out. kind of therapeutic, especially with some nice chill tunes on. Very therapeutic. Now I'm going to see if I can get away with not having to do too much of the edge with the machine, so that I don't run off the paint. Right, off we go. Okay, that wasn't too bad. I've got a bit there, but again, like I say, I'm going to touch up the chrome on it anyway. First time I've ever used that chrome, so it's a lesson. Right, now I've got to do the hood. Oh, sorry, the boot lid. Now this is not going to be needing that much machine work just across the main part, because it's very intricate here, so I don't want to be grinding off the paintwork. So I'm just going to do most of this one by hand, except the top of the boot lid. A bit of the valance again. Get in on there by the rear windows. Alright, let's just run over the valance with that. Absolutely. I gave it a quick brush over with the machine. Now that hasn't come out too bad at all. Right, so that is the course done. That's all it is. It's just this, and this. Right, so I'm going to pull out the this is medium. So now we change to a yellow sponge. Ah, bit of smoko and a cup of coffee. Oh, take the lid off my coffee. Yeah, now this stuff just gets everywhere. When it splatters, it's all over the lights, all over there, all over the screens, all over everything. That's a dead one. I'm gonna have to, get a new one out. Right, so of course there's going to be a little dust all over it in a moment, but it's nice and smooth and it's starting to shine up. The real one where you really start to see it shine is when you apply the fine, and that just really pops up. But I love this part of this process. I know it's messy and it takes a while, and you got to concentrate on it so as not to make too many errors. But this is the part of the model making where you start to see the car come together. Where you can really see those panels gleam, and you think, yeah, it looks like a whatever car it is you're making. Because that's all cars are. They're shiny metal objects. And if you're making a model that doesn't look like a shiny metal object, then you're doing something wrong. That's why we love those cars, innit, boys? Shiny. Right. Now this is medium, and this is a bit thicker for some reason. It's like putty. But as you work it in, you've got to work each bit in. See, this one might be worth just doing by hand, honestly. It starts to get wet. For some reason, the moisture comes out of it as you use it, and it all falls off. It makes a hell of a mess on the cutting board. This does need a bit more. That's why I've used more of this than I have anything else, because it just falls off on the cutting board. Right, so now it's all wet up there with the compound. So now we're going to get the tool on it and see what that does. Okay, that is looking great. That's looking really good. So I'm gonna. This is why I have two of these grinding tools, so I can take this one off, plug it back in, and pull this one out. This one's a bit noisier. Oh, maybe it's not. All depends. Right, okay, let's go do the wings now. Now, I'm actually thinking with this chrome, I liked it, but it's not coming up as shiny as it was. It really isn't. So, what I might do, honestly, is repaint the chrome once I've polished this up. Which is not a big problem, I've got chrome to do that. But the parts on the shelf, which I sprayed, they're also dull. I looked at them the other day. Now, before you polish them, you'd at least expect to be able to see the shine of the gloss. I mean, it gives you an idea of what it's going to look like, how shiny it's going to be once you polish it. And they're very dull. They are dull. I mean, it's all come up really quite dull on this as well. So I'm thinking that chrome just doesn't take a gloss. So what I might do is once this is polished up, before I wax it, yes, I said wax it, because that's exactly what you do, I'm going to repaint that chrome again. I say it's a learning exercise. And then I'm going to respray the chrome on those parts. So that'll be... And I think they'll only need like one coat. So it shouldn't be too bad. And there's only a few parts up there. A couple of bumpers and a few lights. It's the bumpers mostly I want to do. Bumpers and lights. So I should have enough chrome to do that. Then I'll have to buy more to do the Mustang. But that's alright. Okay, let's grind this. Polish this. Oh, now the shine is really starting to come through. Oh, it's going to be amazing when we actually put on the final fine coat. Right, so here we go. Right, let's do the hood and the wings. Again, this is oddly shaped, so I've got to get it right in there. This is where I use a lot of this stuff. You think it's coming up shiny? Yeah, it's definitely coming up shiny. Look at that. It is definitely getting shinier. It's not even done yet. And then just to finish it off, you put a wax coat on it just to properly shine it up, just like you would your car. Now this car's not taking that long because it's like it's half the size of the cars I'm used to doing. I had done before. The Land Rover took a while. I had to do that in two sittings because both of the Dremels ran out of power before I got to the end. I mean, I kept trying to start them and switch them out, and I was like, right, I'm gonna have to give up this and do the final coat another day because there's just so much to that Land Rover. So big. Okay, polishy. Oh, sorry, I didn't put my microphone up, so I was probably blasting you with that. I'm really sorry, that was my bad. That's my bad. I do apologise. Although nobody complained in chat, so. Okay, so we go and do this side. One of these days, I'm going to get someone who actually knows what they're doing in my on my stream. Like one of those expert scale modelers from Scale Modeler, the YouTube channel, and he's going to be like, dude, what are you doing? I'm like, wait, what? He's like, that's how you screw it up. You can make a better job if you do this, this, and this. I was like, oh man. As far as I know, the videos that I did watch, I think I'm pretty close. Pretty sure. It was watching those guys, scale modelers, on YouTube channel that got me into doing these cars, honestly. So I've got to do that. I need a collection. I need a garage. I need a garage of cars, albeit very small ones. Okay. Right, we're going to lift up the microphone. So give me a second here, and I'm going to polish that. Okay, that's that side done. Now for the boot, rear quarter. Oop, that's the lump. Okay, let's see what happens when I shine that on. Okay. Yeah, it's not looking too bad at all. Right, so let's get rid of all this crap. Right, what is the time? Oh, 6:15. So I've still got time. Right, that's that done. Right, so cigarette. Right, so now I'm going to take this off and replace it with a black one, which is the finest of all the polishing spinadles. That's loud. Come on, seat on there properly. Come on. Oh, I may have to get some more of this. This should be runnier than that, but right. Well, it looks like I need to get some more polishing compounds, so I'll write that on the board. Polishing compounds 0 paints. Right, I shall put that on my list. That's on my list. That is loud, yeah. It's like a dentist drill. So I'll make sure to turn the mic off when I'm doing that. Right, let's get, this is the one, this is the fine. This is the fine, so this should be the one to make this shine. And it goes on, like I say, like almost like liquid. It's wet. There we go. It's just like rubbing in water almost, but it's so fine. It just polishes that up. All right, let's see. All right, I'll turn this off. There I was, jabbering away. I didn't even have my mic down. Right. Now I'm going to put it back up again. Right. Be right back. Okay, that's come unseated, so let's put that on back on right. Okay, let's have a look. Yeah, that's not bad shine. I could see my face in it, and that's a good thing. It's looking real good. Looking real good. Okay. So Right, let's do the machine polish. Or just reseat these. There we go. Right, put the mic up. Okay. Oh, that's... Ooh, that is nice and shiny. Oh yeah, look at that. That's... Definitely tell the difference now from what it was just a minute ago. If you do it this way, yeah. Even on camera, that's showing up. And I can see my... If I look at it right, like here, in the light, I can see my face. That's what you need. Right, so we just got this side to do in the back. Hmm. Yeah, looking good. Yeah. I don't like seeing my own face. My own face is not a pretty face. Right. Okay, so let's polish this one. Okay, getting there slowly. Right, now the rear. Okay, we're getting there, folks. It's nearly done. Okay, alright, let's do this. Okay. Well, I think that's it for the polishing today. Now that's come up really nice. Oh, that's really shiny. Right, so what we got to do now is wait for the gunk to dry on it and then wash it off. So I'm going to give that time. Now I was going to take a look at those other chrome pieces, but I think I will leave that for today. I think we've done pretty well today. I've been going for nearly 2 hours, and that was all I wanted to do today. So all I've got to do now is pack up this nonsense, put it all back in my drawers. But that was pretty sweet. Right, I will join you all for a chat. Okay. Where's my cigaroony and my coffee? Okay. Aye. Oh, look at me, all covered in polishing compound. Right, well that's that done for today. Here she be. I know you can't really see, so let's try and get the light on her. That's not really working, is it? It's not a bad shine. Yeah, it's come out quite nice. I'm pretty pleased with it, although you can't really see it that well. But you can see that the light definitely kicks off on it. Yeah, so that's pretty good. I'm pretty impressed with that. Even in low light, you can sort of see reflections in it. It's shiny, shiny, shiny. It's my shiny, boss. It's my shiny. I ain't got no shinies. Yeah, that's the thing. It has depth. It's got shine. It's got depth. It's got reflection. You can see a mirror in it. I love it. I think it's great. Absolutely great. So as you know, it's I am a success. Yeah, I have a success. Today's been a better day than yesterday. That's for damn sure. But yeah, like I say, I'm still playing around with that chrome paint. You have to learn its limitations, learn what you can do. It's not just like picking up a paint and sticking it on a canvas. There's so many other things that you need to be able to do to a paint when you're doing a car like this. You need to be able to know whether it can take a gloss, whether you can polish it, how well it dries, how quickly it dries, all these kind of things. And I've learned a lot about that chrome paint. I do love that chrome paint, so I will be repainting the chrome all over. From spraying the chrome parts to painting the chrome parts on the car again, because once it was painted and dried before I took a gloss, oh, it looked great, but once it took a gloss it dulled, so it's going to get repainted there, which is not a huge problem. I've only got a few chrome parts up there, so it'll be alright. Oh my god, what? Oh my god, what? Yeah, okay, fair enough. I've got a bunch of sweatshirts and they all end up getting dirty. So yeah, that was a pretty good sort of tutorial, I guess, to show you how I polish the cars up. Now all I've got to do is wait for the gunk to dry and go all dusty and less sticky, so it'll just dry. Same colour, same straight. How cool. And then just run it under a tap, run it over with a toothbrush, then let it dry, and then just wipe it over with a cloth, and yeah, we're good. Then I'm good to paint the chrome on it. We're getting there. It's nearly done. These parts take a long time to do, and you're so itching. You're like, I want to get all their bits on. I want to get the glass in. I want to get the wheels on. I want to get. But if you rush it, then it just won't work. It just won't look as good. And I'm eager to get on with that other one, the Mustang, but I know I've got to take my time on this. And I have to say, that bad spot in the car, you can see it in the light because the light bends around it, so you could definitely see it, but it's not that noticeable. It really isn't. I'm pretty pleased with it. It's more than I could have expected. Once I've realised that I should have filled it and sanded it, sanded it, I'm like, damn. But now I've polished it, you could barely see it's there. Barely see it's there. Just a couple of blemishes, and it's... So I'm pretty pleased with it, but the problem is, we're at the stage we were before we tried to paint the black. Oh well. Oh well. But it does look very shiny. But for now, that's going to be it from me. I'm going to be heading off. I'm going to be getting ready for my prior engagement tonight. So I'm going to be going off and having a nap. Hopefully I'm going to be playing some Sea of Thieves later on, but we'll just see how everyone is. If nobody wants to play it, then I might have a night off. You never know. But until then, thanks very much for joining me. Where is my mouse? And I will see you... I'll see you soon. Thanks. Bye.